Hello everyone, and welcome to our last episode of Big Blue News for the year. I'm your host, Carlos.
And I'm Josh. Let's get right into the news.
After 18 years at Swampscott High School, Principal Kohut will be leaving his position here. We are lucky to have him in the studio live today with Big Blue News host Sasha Sadari.
Our guest here is the principal of Swampscott High School, Mr. Kohut. We are very grateful to have you with us today to discuss your career.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Of course. So, you've been in education for 18 years as a teacher and principal. How did you begin working with Swampscott Public School?
So actually 20, because I worked 2 years before Swampscott. I worked in Everett, in a private school in Everett before I came here in 2006. So I was an English teacher there and then became an English teacher here in 2006. So at the time, I was living on the North Shore and I had applied to a few different districts up this way and came and interviewed here in Swampscott and really liked it and came on board in September of 2006.
Wow. Okay, so which position was the most challenging for you?
That's really hard to say. I think they're all challenging, but in different ways. Teaching is very challenging, but I think the challenges of teaching are different from the challenges of being an assistant principal. I was assistant principal as well, whereas you're dealing with a lot of like student kind of what we say student-facing issues. Maybe it's discipline, maybe it's scheduling, things like that. And then when you're as principal, also challenging, but different challenges, right? Where a lot of times it's managing like the big picture for the school. And so it's hard to say which is the most challenging. They're all very challenging, but also super rewarding. So for any of those of you in the audience who are thinking about going into a career in education, first of all, we need really good people, but also it's a very rewarding career in that you get to work with young people. And it's really cool for me because I've been doing this for so long to either run into kids or who are now adults. I'm at the point now where kids who I taught have children, which is kind of a trip, but also it's really cool to see. So like sometimes the rewards come later. You don't see them immediately.
For our following question actually applies to what you just mentioned. What do you advise for young students who are considering education?
Who are considering education? Get into it. And I would say even if we are looking for people in that field in education right now. And if you're someone in college and you're thinking about it, that's what happened for me. I actually worked for in a corporate job, and I was not happy. And I just had an opportunity. I was living with my parents. I had an apartment, moved out of the apartment, was back with my parents, wasn't happy, and I saw a posting, and I did it. It was literally 2 days before the first day of school, and I had no education background aside from an English degree. A bachelor's in English, and I just kind of walked in, but I loved it right away. So my advice would be try it and give it a year or two, and if it's not for you, you can always, when you're young, you can switch careers. And I think that's good advice, not just for education, but like for anything. Give it a try.
Okay. So you've been principal longer than you've been a teacher, correct?
No, I was a teacher for longer.
Really?
Yeah, I was a teacher. I started teaching in 2004 through 2017. So that's what, 13 years?
Wow, that's
right?
a long time.
Yeah, and then assistant principal for 2, and then principal for now. Well, this will be 6 full years. Yeah.
Ah, okay. Do you ever miss teaching?
I do every day. Yeah, and I'm very honest about that. Although I do feel like what I do, particularly when I'm working with kids, more so when I was assistant principal, it was teaching, but teaching different concepts. Like maybe I'm not teaching English anymore, but I am teaching kids how to deal with different things. So I always think of myself as a teacher, but I do miss teaching in particular the subject that I taught, English, which I'm still an avid reader, and I do miss that, yeah.
I would too. Anything else you would like to say to the families, students, and staff of Swampscott?
Sure, I just want to say thank you to everyone. It's been an honor to work here, even though I'm not from here. I'm actually a South Shore kid. I grew up in Quincy, so I'd never been here before until I interviewed for the position, but it really does feel like a second home for me. So the big thing is thank you, and to the families out there, thank you. It's been an honor to work with your children. There are great kids in this community and in Boston and Nahant, all the communities we serve. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Also, one more thing.
Yeah.
Every morning you say something that positively affects students, the Big Blue Bees that you created.
Yes.
Would you be able to repeat that for us one last time?
Sure. All right. So number one, we have be where you are supposed to be. Number two, we have be kind. Number three, we have be a champion for one another. Number four, oh my goodness, did I forget number four?
We'll say it together. Be dice roller.
Well, I know that one. That's number five. And of course, all right, so number five, be a bowler and not a dice roller. Which, can I explain that one?
Yes, of course.
Because I realized that is one of the most misunderstood of the Big Blue Bees. So the whole idea behind that is when you go bowling, and there's like a bowling motion, right? You're rolling the ball. Can you do things when you're bowling that can like change where the ball goes?
Well, yeah.
Right? Like you don't want to throw it backwards. Like,
No,
right?
no.
Okay. You can aim, you can do different things like that, right? When you roll dice, so you do have some level of control. If you're
Yeah.
really good at bowling, you have more control than your average bowler or a new bowler, right? Do you have any control over rolling dice?
No.
No, the outcome is it's completely random. It's gambling, right? So the idea being like it's a similar motion, but very different. So when you're making decisions, the idea is to bowl rather than just gamble and roll the dice, right? Be like strategic and thoughtful in your planning and what you're going to do and how you're going to approach things in life, rather than just like I'm just going to hope for the best. Because hope for the best can work sometimes, but I think when it comes to school, you don't want to just hope for the best.
Yeah.
You need to have a plan, right? All right. So what did we do? I forgot one. So I said, be where you're supposed to be where your feet are, be kind, be a champion for one another, and be a bowler, not a dice roller. All right, we got all five. Thank you for your help. Yeah.
Thank you so much for
You're
coming
welcome.
today. I'm very grateful to have the time to interview. And you are and always will be a part of Swampscott High School community. And thank you for everything.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for everyone for having me on.
And now back to the news desk to Darcy Carlos with more news.
For our first story, producer Emilia Varvounis looked into school safety at Swampscott High School.
As school emergencies, including school shootings, are of concern nationwide, schools have taken steps to ensure safety. Swampscott High School is no different. SHS has collaborated with the Swampscott Police Department to be prepared for any threats or safety risks. Most students and staff feel relatively safe.
My role as a school resource officer, I am in charge of all the schools, including SHS. We've partnered with several different programs, including I Love You Guys and Be Safe. I Love You Guys is the lockdown drills that we do, as well as any other secures in the school. Be Safe actually does the floor plans for the school, so if we ever had to respond to an emergency, all of our officers have those plans and know where to go.
My name is Mr. Joe Doulette, and I am the media arts instructor. So the ones that I know of as a teacher are the drills that we do, and we have this whole system of like announcements, and it could be a hold, it could be a lockdown, it could be an evacuate. And so over the course of the year, we practice each of those drills so that we as teachers and students kind of know what to do in case of an emergency.
While I've been in Swampscott, I've seen fire drills, I've seen lockdowns.
We have alarms on all of our doors, as well as we just upgraded the camera systems to ensure that the students are safe every day.
If someone like pulled a drill or anything, like they take measures right away.
Officer Brian Wilson, our school's resource officer, has been with Swampscott schools for 4 years with his renowned canine Sora, feeling confident in our school's protection.
Since I took over as the SRO a few years ago, there's been no issues. I feel like that's because we work hard to ensure it's safe, make sure all the systems are working, and our training is up to date.
Although our school has implemented various safety techniques, there are still concerns from SHS faculty members and students.
The one specific issue is that I think the doors themselves, if we feel like the locking doors is one of the first barriers to anyone coming into the building who shouldn't be here, there's a number of doors that don't shut completely.
I think we could maybe have an officer always here, because I know Officer Wilson does leave sometimes. So maybe having an officer always here would be a little safer, but besides that, I really don't think there's much they can do better.
Honestly, the most important thing for making a high school a safe place is to make sure that the students feel comfortable and the students feel welcome. Because threats come when students feel like they want to retaliate because they don't feel supported.
Fortunately, there have been no emergencies at Swampscott High School. Hopefully, SHS will continue to keep their safety measures up to date. This is Emilia Bereaud reporting for Big Blue News.
Now for our next story, which was produced by Avery Forbes and Riley Johnson, is about the restrictions imposed on senior activities.
Senior activities, the traditions everyone looks forward to, are ramping up as the year comes to an end. However, there is a question on everyone's mind. Will these traditions stick around long enough for the younger classes to enjoy? Although the administration enjoys the camaraderie that comes with these traditions, many, including Vice Principal Finn, cannot ignore the risks that may arise throughout the year.
I'm going to tell you my thoughts about Senior Assassin. If you know me well enough, you know since I started here, so this is now my 7th year, and I've never worked at a school that I've ever heard of Senior Assassin. So my first year that I got here, I was like, what is this? This is crazy. The reason why, I always look at it from the lens of safety. Like, that's it. It's not I'm trying to be a dream crusher. It's not I'm trying to, like, make your life awful. I worry because people are running around the town or the community in cars, not paying attention, on their phones, with guns, quote unquote. And some people, you might enter into an area that people might not know that it's a game that people are playing. It's not condoned, like, we don't give permission for it. It's not a school event. So when that happens, we do get lots of calls from community members about people driving erratically. We had a call one year where someone drove and actually hit a little elderly lady, and she ended up falling and cracking her head on the sidewalk and ended up having to go to the hospital. So, like, things have happened. So when we make decisions like that, it's not just because, like I said, we're being a dream crusher. It's because something happened and we're trying to prevent that to happen again.
Although not all students complain, some students do see the administration side. Senior Emma Reen believes that some rules are placed there for the better.
I think in a way, yes. I think some people in our grade have made decisions that have led us to be restricted on certain things, but I also think that our grade is respectful enough where we're given a lot of flexibility with the administration itself. I think we're just going to respond to them the way they're given to us and not really fight back. I mean, we haven't really been given anything that's been too restrictive, so I think we've been pretty good.
The administration's limitations do not seem too restrictive to some students. However, seniors, Olivia Barletta and Brian Shekel, still suggest what most students are thinking. Rules are rules until they begin to become a roadblock for memories.
I'm class president, and I have meetings with administration from time to time, and whenever I do, I tell them, like, this is stupid, what are you doing? And they just say, like, oh, it's a, standard protocol, or, like, we're just worried about people's safety, and, like, okay, but, like, this is so unnecessary. Especially when they did, like, the yonder thing. I was kind of at their throats, but, like, there's nothing I can do. They just laughed me off and closed the door. There was the change in the prom protocol, and that, I know, caused a lot of issues for people. Not personally for me, I didn't have to go through it, but it was just, like, they weren't taking into account people's situations, and that just felt selfish to me.
I guess for prom, I understand that there was an issue last year, but I feel like the way that they handled it and, like, the whole process this year is just, it's confusing, but it's just so, like, unnecessary. And, like, I don't know, a meeting is just so, like, overkill.
Yeah. And if you're going to go out of your way to put these policies in place, you need to make it accessible, and they were being very inaccessible about it. And when I would ask teachers and workers of the school about it, faculty, the answer I got most often, not to name names, was they're trying to prevent people from bringing outside guests. So they're making it as confusing as possible on purpose. But if you are trying to say that you're not trying to prevent people, why is it only during school hours when people need to work? It's really hard for people to get out of work, especially with different financial situations. It was all kind of entitled.
Yeah.
It put a bad taste in my mouth.
I think there's this thing that kind of happens every year where, like, the senior class just kind of gets a lot closer.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, obviously senior assassin stuff helps, but, like, especially the prom thing, I feel like that's a really important thing to have just because I think starting at the end of junior year, every class kind of becomes a lot more, like, linked in a sense. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's just, like, an effect that everyone kind of has going into their senior year of high school.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important just, like, to end on a good note. And I think, although, like, a lot of them, like, just senior sunrise, I know we got, like, we got yelled at about, like, being out the windows of the car or whatever.
We didn't do anything. That was the calmest parade of
It
all
was very
time.
calm. I was outside the window. I didn't get hurt.
No.
But I do think I do think they're very important in, like, ending our high school experience on a good note.
The The battle of traditions between the students and the administration has been a priority for many to win. One side fighting to keep the traditions alive, and the other trying to ensure student safety by limiting what activities can include. No matter what, these senior activities will continue to be regarded as the highlights of many students' senior year. And we hope that students and the administration can reach a common ground.
Our next story is about Jason Kalishman as the new superintendent for the Swampscott Public Schools and was produced by Thomas Arrington.
With the retirement of Pamela Angelakis, Mr. Kalishman will be stepping in as the new superintendent. Staff members are enthusiastic about Kalishman taking the helm.
Thomas, I am very excited and confident in Mr. Kalishman taking over as superintendent for Miss Angelakis.
Kalishman being the new superintendent, I think, is an outstanding selection and opportunity for our town to continue to grow and thrive in the North Shore, north of Boston. Superintendent Angelakis well-positioned our district and our students and our entire community to be in a place where we can look at a future that involves many different experiences, pathways, and opportunities for all of our students and their families. So I'm really excited about Mr. Kalishman coming to this new position with his truly tireless energy.
I'm excited for Mr. Kalishman to come as superintendent. He has a lot of experience in our district. He's been a leader at the middle school, and I can tell he's super excited to advance in his career and lead the district, and I'm very excited for his energy and vision.
Kalishman will bring many strengths as a superintendent and can build upon the great things that Miss Angelakis has done.
He's very much a people person. He seems to always be in the hallways at the middle school, engaging with the kids, making sure family outreach and family connection is happening. So I think that will be one of his strengths, is connecting with the students and the families and making sure that everyone feels heard and issues and concerns are addressed very quickly after they arise.
His ability to effectively communicate and work with people of all different backgrounds, experiences, talents, skills, goals. That includes teachers and also community members, of course our students, and he always has an idea of inclusivity in mind. And when I say tireless, I mean his strength, and maybe his weakness too, is he's working 24/7 around the clock.
Mr. Kalishman taught me a lot about leadership, and the three most important characteristics a building leader has is being visibility, connectedness in the relationships that you build, and also follow through. And I think those are the top three that Mr. Kalishman will bring to the superintendency.
As the new superintendent, Kalishman will face a lot of different challenges.
I think coming from being a principal to overseeing an entire district of over 2,000 students will be a big undertaking. And I think his biggest challenge will probably be the school budget. I think getting the funding for schools seems to be one of the biggest challenges of our leaders these days. And so I'm sure that will be one of his top priorities.
In our town, as a superintendent, just from my perspective and where I sit, is trying to work effectively with all the departments and organizations in town. It's been a common discussion lately about our town's budget and how we can best support the schools with the resources that we have. And I think that's not a secret to anyone. That's a challenge that is very much out in the open, and I think Mr. Kalishman is the man to tackle that particular challenge with his commitment.
I think the biggest challenge that Mr. Kalishman will face is replacing himself at Swampscott Middle School. Those are some large shoes to fill.
While some people may have different opinions, we can see that many staff members are excited with the fact that Kalishman will be this new superintendent. This is Thomas Arrington signing off.
Cell phones at Swampscott High School have been a hot button issue. Producers Ali El Yousfi and Joey Dalilio take a look at some of the opinions around use of phones in study halls.
In Swampscott High School, many students during the study periods find nothing to do and resort to waiting for the time to pass, sleeping, or using their phones. There's an issue with phone use in the schools that is prohibited, and many students get written up and get put on the permanent record Most students feel that phones should be allowed at least during study halls.
It doesn't really affect your learning, and they're good to use while like doing homework, because you can like search up an answer that you don't know. And even though like computers are good, like sometimes you don't have anything to do, and yeah.
Yes, I think that phones should be allowed during study halls. It's an effective way to communicate and research for your work to help you learn more and advance your educational prowess.
I honestly do. If it's in study halls, yeah, because say they're already done with their work, they got nothing else to do. So I honestly think that it's great to pass time.
I do believe that phones should be allowed during studies.
It's our time, and we should be able to do what we want in that time.
I think students can benefit from the connection between their peers.
The administration established a no phones policy in 2023. Since they've adopted this policy, they have seen noticeable changes.
We actually want to eliminate any of the negative interactions that happens when people are checking their phones throughout the school day too. And by us not having the cell phones allowed during the day or during studies or during passing times, it actually has decreased the amount of discipline issues we've had related to social media.
We asked students if phones could be a distraction, preventing people from finishing their work. Here's what they had to say.
Not really, because like if you're at home and you have your phone, I mean, I'm not that distracted personally, but maybe some people would, but not necessarily.
No, because students are now in high school and they're old enough to understand that this is an opportunity to get their work done.
If they have work to do, and this ends up being a zero just because they didn't do the work in the study hall. Say after you're done, I think you can use it.
It depends on both of those. I do believe that it'll benefit kids, especially underclassmen that don't have anything particularly to do after they're done completing their work. But I do believe that it can be a distraction, considering some kids rather play on their phone than finish their work, which could also have their grades drop, and it could have negative impacts.
80 minutes of class period, I don't think they're going to use their phones for the entire period, so.
It's a possibility of distraction, but I think it's best to have free phone use.
Every student we interviewed thinks that phones in study will be beneficial. And with the new administration coming in 2026, students are hopeful for a new change.
The role of guidance office at Swampscott High School is not always fully understood. Producers Angelica, Vicente, and Emilia, Castillo spoke with counselors and various students to learn more about the service provided.
The Swampscott High School guidance counselors have important roles they play in students' lives every day. Yet, not all students know this. Many students consider a trip to guidance as being in trouble, yet that's not the case. They are here for a range of students' needs.
Situations where it's a student and a teacher conflict, and we help mediate and facilitate meetings. Communication is a big skill learned in high school.
If you're struggling with something, whether it's academics, social, emotional things, that there's always people that you can talk to.
We help with students ranging from substance abuse issues that we need to get them help and put into programs and given resources for.
Test anxiety. I feel like a lot of kids, especially freshmen, have a lot of test anxiety.
Situations with bullying we help with. Peer mediation is a big thing.
There's a lot of drama sometimes that goes on. Who said what and he said, she said. Kids have a hard time with their parents at home, and they want to talk to somebody about that.
Most students know guidance will always be available as a resource. Some students take full advantage of the services, while others use it only for the college admissions.
We can go there if we need help, like emotionally, relationship-wise, school-wise. Like
conflict with one of your peers that you don't feel comfortable talking about with a teacher or your parents. I think guidance is a really good place to go and sort of express yourself.
I don't think I'm going to be in trouble for saying something bad because, I went there for the solution.
I think they're really there just to hear you out and to just help you navigate everything.
Most people only really use their guidance counselors when it comes to, applying to college and sort of setting themselves up for after high school. But they serve to be here for a lot more than that.
Dealing with issues, and you can go there and they'll help you.
Closer with some of the guidance faculty, I haven't really gone.
The relationship that I built with my guidance counselor
and the openness I had going in to sharing and receiving help from them and the whole entire guidance department was something that was really important to me.
Going to guidance or going to someone for counseling is totally normal.
Whatever your experience is with guidance, we hope you know that they will always be available to you.
And now we will cut to the sports desk with Jason as he gives updates on what happened with the Big Blue in the MIAA tournament.
After a tough battle for the Big Blue boys lacrosse team, after winning against Fairhaven 14-6, they had to face the number 2 seed, Weston, and after fighting throughout the game, and even Chase Russo coming back in after injury in the third quarter and scoring 2 goals to cut the lead down to 2, they couldn't keep up with the Weston offense and would ultimately lose the game 16-6. The girls' lacrosse team season will also come to an end after losing to Hamilton Wenham 20-6, and defense has also struggled for the girls as both lacrosse teams have now been eliminated from the MIA tournament. In track news, the rally of Anthony Coella, Hunter Hersey, Miles Brown, and Simon Brown with a school record on the 4x800. On top of that, freshman Annabelle Everett won the state championship and will go on to nationals. Best of luck, Annabelle. That's all for sports. Back to you, Carlos.
Thanks, Jason. For upcoming events, we have the town-wide yarn sale on Saturday, June 14th from 8 a.m. to noon on the Town Hall lawn and around town. The Pride event and 5K on Saturday, June 14th from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. on the Town Hall lawn. The 4th grade moving on ceremony on Monday, June 16th at 9:30 a.m. at Swampscott Elementary School. The Swampscott Middle School graduation on Monday, June 16th at 5 p.m. at Swampscott High School. The Garden Art Walk on June 28th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at various locations around town. The Strawberry Festival on June 29th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. on the Town Hall lawn. And the Fireworks Festival on July 3rd, which starts at 5 p.m. on the Town Hall lawn and the waterfront. Before we end our last episode of the year, let's introduce you to our crew.
Hi again. Do you want me to show you around? Of course I can. Shout out to our 2 anchors here, Josh and Carlos. You guys did an amazing job. Let's show you around. What's your name and what's your role?
I'm Adrian. I'm the floor director.
Great. Hey, what's your name and what's your role?
Hi, I'm Jason. I'm the sports anchor.
Let's go over here. Greetings. What's your name and what's your role?
Hi, I'm Cecily and I'm setting lights.
And over here, someone's getting quite busy. What's up? What's your name and what's your role?
I'm Andy, and I'm one of the audio engineers for today.
Amazing. Hey, how are you? What's your name and what's your role?
I'm good. My name's Holden, and I'm on the audio mixer.
Come on over here. What's your name and what's your role?
I'm Inaya. I'm a co-producer, and I'm CG graphic.
Backing up. What's your name and what's your role?
I'm John, and I'm technical director and co-producer.
Hey, what's your name and what's your role?
I'm Ian Forbes. I'm also a technical director.
Hey, what's your name and what's your role?
Oh, my name's Nick, and I'm working on teleprompter.
Great. And my favorite, what's your name and what's your role?
My name is Paul Varvounis. I am director and producer.
Great job. Hey! We're traveling over here. Hey, what's your name and what's your role?
My name is Mr. Gillette, and I'm a production assistant grip. I just pull cables.
Getting quite busy. Traveling over to the classroom. Miss Sweet! What's your name and what's your role?
I'm Mrs. Witt. I'm an educational support professional here, and I just, whatever you guys need me to do.
And last but not least, shout out to our camera. Thank you, Aiden. Anyways, back to the news desk.
We thank you for joining us on our last episode of Big Blue News.
Tune in next fall when we start it up again. Have a great summer, and be sure to like and subscribe.